We're going to talk about a very important principle in network marketing. It's really one of the most important principles in network marketing, and that is the principle of duplication. Because in network marketing, it truly is monkey see, monkey do. See, duplication is the key to your freedom. What do I mean by duplication? I mean getting your newly joined distributor to know what you know and do what you do quickly. So we're going to talk about how to do that. You see, when you first start out in a network marketing business, you are 100% of the effort in your business. There's an inverse relationship between time and money because you're all the effort. So you're going to spend more time and make less money at the beginning. But here's the magic of duplication. As soon as you have one other person on your team that wants to do what you want to do, now you're half of the effort on your team. Your significant contribution to your team has been reduced by 50%. Then you become a third of the effort, and a sixth, and a tenth, and a 1/100th, and 1/1000th, and 1/10,000th of the effort on your team. And at that point, the relationship between time and money really changes. Now you can spend less time and make more money because you couldn't stop your group from growing if you tried. Duplication is happening. Now, a lot of people quit right about here. And usually it's because they don't understand the principle of duplication. They think it's all about going and selling some product to their neighbors or signing up hundreds and hundreds of people themselves. And they just get tired and they think, man, I'm working all this time. I'm not making very much money. If you don't get duplication going, all you've done is bought yourself another job where you're trading time for money. So don't do that, because if you do, you're going to wind up one tired little monkey. All right? Well, so how do you get duplication going? Well, there's some good news and some bad news. The good news is it's already started. The bad news is it's already started because some of the duplication that's happening is good and some of it is not so good. You see, duplication starts with you. Monkey see, monkey do. So people are watching what you do. They're going to imitate what you do. I don't know if you've ever heard the expression, the speed of the group is the speed of the leader, but that's true. Also, the attitude of the group is the attitude of the leader. The thought pattern of the group, the actions of the group, the steps they're taking in the group, that all starts with the leader. Monkey see, monkey do. And because it's a volunteer army, you can't fire anybody on your team. They're independent distributors. All you can do is lead, inspire, and partner with the people on your team for a common goal. So make sure that your behavior is what you want duplicated. You know, there's a funny and a sad story that I can tell you. In my previous company, I had about 60,000 people on my team, and I was showing up to a meeting, and I was like the big guy coming in to do the meeting. And I started to realize after a while that everybody showing up was a distributor. There weren't very many people there, and it was all distributors. And I was sitting there thinking, oh my gosh, these people are so lazy. Why can't they be more like me? Until it dawned on me, wait a minute, they're exactly like me because I don't have a guest at this meeting either. Monkey see, monkey do. I have to set the pace. So a question that you can ask yourself to keep yourself honest about what you're duplicating on your team is, what if everybody thought what I'm thinking? Or what if everybody did what I'm doing? You know, one of the downfalls of a binary system like ours, and there aren't very many because it's an amazing system, but one of the traps that people can fall into is the thinking that, well, you know, my sponsor should build this leg for me and I'll build the other leg. I just have to build one leg. Well, all you have to do is ask yourself, what if everybody thought what I'm thinking? How slow would your team grow? Very slowly. That's not an efficient duplication thought process. What if everybody did what I'm doing? Well, you know, if this is what you're doing, I have to tell you, there is no CV in TV. And if that's what duplication looks like on your team, that's what your results are going to look like, and you won't be too happy. If, on the other hand, you have a daily action plan, let's say your daily action plan is to contact 3 people a day to expose them to a video or invite them to a meeting or some other tool. Now you've got something. And if that duplicates on your team, well, then your results are going to be much more positive. All right, obviously your goal is to build a large team of people who know what you know and do what you do. Actually, the essence of network marketing is to get a large group of people to perform a few simple and effective tasks over a long period of time. That's what it is. So what behaviors, attitudes, and activities do we want duplicated on our teams? Well, the first is the right mindset. It all starts with our thinking, doesn't it? The way you think can either be an inoculation for your team against minor distractions and problems that come along, or it can be a virus that spreads and affects your team and basically knocks you out of the business. So your thinking is really, really, really important. You see, your team is going to dance to your tune, and so will your prospects. It all starts with how you think. Thoughts are things. You have a thought and then you take an action based on that thought. If it's a positive thought and a positive action, you get positive results. If it's a negative thought, which leads to kind of a negative action, your results are going to be very different, aren't they? So when you have a negative mindset, then every little minor challenge is going to turn into a major distraction, and distractions kill growth. Because it's just going to be an excuse to participate in a long whining and moaning session about, oh, woe is me. And distributors that participate in those whining and moaning sessions, they don't have any time to build a business. They're too busy whining and moaning. On the other hand, if you make a decision at the beginning of your business, like, I am doing this, it is non-negotiable, I expect a good result, so lead, follow, or get the freak out of my way, then you're going to find a way over, around, under, or through any particular problem that arises because that's your mindset. Nothing is going to stop you and become a distraction on your way to your goal. We also want to duplicate the proper attitude towards some of the trials and what some people might call failures that we're going to experience on our path towards success. There's a real endemic attitude towards failure in our society that we want to avoid it at all costs. It's like failure is equal to death, so we don't want to ever fail. So people create this model in their head that failure is in one direction and success is in the other direction. But I've got to tell you, failure and success are in the same direction. You have to get through some failures to arrive at success. And I can promise you, if you are not succeeding fast enough, it is absolutely because you're not willing to fail fast enough and enough times. You can't be great at everything from step one. So failure and success are in the same direction, but you may also want to reframe the word failure. I just think of it as feedback. You act, you have some sort of a result, you look at that result and you examine it, and you say, well, what did I do well? What could I do better? What can I adjust? Then you adjust it and you act again. And then you analyze your results and you adjust and you act again. That is how successful people succeed. So that's the attitude towards failures and challenges that you want to duplicate on your team. There are no born pessimists. If you've ever looked at, I don't know what happened to this guy, but if you've ever looked at little children, they're full of optimism. Their imaginations are on fire. These kids have tea parties with no tea. They're just on fire with possibility. But then, life starts happening and maybe an authority figure says something to them and they take that in, or they get some sort of criticism and they start creating sort of negative patterns and mindsets towards themselves. And that's very common. I think it happens to everybody. So we have to be very on purpose about replacing those negative mindsets. Leaders are readers. You can't just say, don't think about a pink elephant, right? What did you just think about? So it's the same thing saying, don't have negative thoughts. You have to replace the negative with the positive. And there are so many wonderful books out there, recorded series that you can get from Amazon, where you can get into the brains of very successful people like Napoleon Hill, Anthony Robbins, Stephen Covey, Brennan Burchard, and many, 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 many others, Wayne Dyer, Jim Rohn. 15 minutes a day of positive input will make all the difference in your life. Read the scriptures. If you're a spiritual person, 15 minutes a day, put that in your brain. Another thing that we want to duplicate on purpose is confidence in what you have to offer. So many times we have the attitude that, well, gosh, I need to get people to do this for me. No. Who needs who? Let me kind of walk you through what the picture of many people's lives look like. At 7 a.m. all around the world, alarm clocks are going off and people are swearing and wishing they could throw them against the wall and smash them to smithereens. They scrape themselves off the mattress, they stumble into the shower, and then they traipse on down to that tin can on wheels for the commute to work, which they don't get paid for, only to arrive at a job which they probably settled for working with people they wouldn't choose as friends, 8 hours to 12 hours a day, and sometimes more. only to have to hop back in the tin can with wheels for the reverse commute. Maybe on the way home they pick up some fast food and a few beers to knock back while they watch reruns that night to forget how crummy their lives are. And it only starts over the very next day. You have the solution. You offer good health. You offer the key to their freedom. So who needs who? You just need to have confidence in what you have to offer. And then, very important, we want to duplicate a system. Systems can be duplicated. People cannot be duplicated. So you want to make sure that anybody can participate in the system. From the most educated to the least educated, from the oldest to the youngest, from the most in shape to the least in shape, from jail to Yale. Everybody should be able to participate in a very simple system to get the word out. Because it's not about how smart or talented you are. You may have very special talents. You may have your unique monkey dance that you do that makes everybody join the business. But what if you stop dancing? Would your team keep growing? No, it certainly wouldn't, because not every distributor on your team has the same talents and abilities that you do, right? Another question you want to ask yourself when you're thinking about what do I want to do to grow my team, it's not does it work? Lots of things work and are effective, but the question is, does it duplicate? Can everyone do it? I once had a distributor in one of my groups buy signs up and down the freeway. He spent like $50,000, about $10,000 a crack, on signs up and down the freeway. Did it work? Yes. People joined his business. Did it duplicate? What was he going to say? Okay, so you're new to the business. Okay, here's your duplication model. Spend 50 grand on signs down the freeway and make sure they're not near mine. No, that doesn't duplicate. So make sure that you're doing what you want duplicated. If you want to look at a system that really works, and if you want an raging example of effective systems, you can look at McDonald's Corporation. I'm not going to recommend their food, but I'll tell you, it's a multi-billion-dollar corporation run by teenagers. Why isn't it out of business? Because the system tells them what to do. They know what to do from the minute they arrive there. They know when to turn on the lights, what music to play, what temperature the griddle is, when to dip the fries, what to say to the customers, what time to open, what time to close, what the uniforms look like, the configuration of the store. All of that is predetermined by the system. Systems are important. So in our system, we use tools. The rule on my team is if your lips are moving, your finger is pointing to a tool. You want the tools to do the talking. You don't want to be explaining a lot, because then your prospect thinks they have to know a lot to explain a lot. And a tool will give you a perfect presentation every time, a logical, professional, well laid out presentation. So use the tools. See, your recruit is watching everything you do from the moment you contact him to the moment they join the business. And then they conclude, okay, everything I witnessed Paul do, that is, quote, the business, end quote. So they think that's what they have to do. Make sure that you're doing what you want duplicated and not complicating things. You want to keep it simple. You also want to duplicate the right posture. And I'm not talking about standing up straight. I'm talking about the posture in approaching people. I think of it as a quiet confidence. We know what we have. We're just offering it to people. We're educators. We lay out what we have, and then we allow them to determine if and how it serves them and at what level. You never want to use high-pressure tactics. You never want your prospect to feel like they are being sold, because this is a business where you're not just trying to sell somebody something. You're trying to sell somebody something and then asking them to do what you just did to them to somebody else. And if what you just did to them was distasteful, uncomfortable, it's going to die with them even if they join your business, because they're a nice person and they're not going to go do that to somebody else. So have you ever noticed that if you lean forward, people lean back? Lean back. When I'm on the phone to somebody, my magic phrase is always, Bob, this may or may not be something for you. I'm not sure, but knowing what I know about you, I have a good clue that I think you're going to love this, and I think you could be great at it. Would it be all right if I sent over a video for you to take a look at? You see how that's a leaning back posture? It's a confident posture. Now, if on the other hand, if I'm saying, Bob, please, you just got to take a look at this for me. I'm coming off desperate, and they're thinking, oh my gosh, what's wrong with that business that Paul is so desperate? So duplicate the right posture. Duplicate the proper time allocation. What do I mean by that? Well, I've heard it said several times from a stage that you only need 2 to 4 hours a week to build a network marketing business. Okay, if you want to build a small retail business, sure, that could work. But if you're trying to create ongoing, significant residual income, if you're trying to replace or exceed your current income, no way. On a part-time basis, you're going to need to spend 10 to 15 hours a week. So that's like an hour and a half a day to 2 hours a day to build a significant business. This is a real business. This is not a get-rich-quick scheme. Anything worthwhile is worth dedicating time to and sacrificing for. But it's very important how you spend that time. The difference between people who make millions and millions of dollars in network marketing and people who don't make a dime is how they spend those 10 to 15 hours. If you're spending countless hours obsessively checking your back office or rearranging your product stock or cleaning out your desk, getting super organized, there's a time and a place for all those things. But if you're scrolling through Facebook, if you're doing those other things and it's becoming a distraction, that's going to keep you from doing the real revenue-producing activities. And there are only 2 revenue-producing activities in network marketing, and they are precisely show the product, show the business. We get paid when somebody consumes a product. So these are the 2 revenue-producing activities, and this is where you should be spending most of your time. Now, what does that look like? Well, that's like getting on the phone and inviting people to come to a meeting, or sending them a video and following up, or texting them some information from the app, or attending a presentation or presenting at a presentation. These are all revenue-producing activities. And if that is the activity that is duplicating out in your team, the results are going to be very, very positive. One of the most effective things that you can do to make sure that you're allocating your time properly and duplicating that on your team is to take some time on the weekend, take 45 minutes, and sit down and plan out your week. Block out periods of time where you're going to be doing revenue-producing activities. And then let your family know. If you're working from home, let them know, hey, you know what? It's going to look like I'm home, but I'm really going to still be at work. This is very important time for our family. I'm working on my network marketing business, so I need your cooperation. If you'll do that, you will find that even though life will still come at you and you might have to adjust some things, you'll be much more effective in your time management. Otherwise, you'll just kind of go with the flow and you'll be reactive instead of proactive in your time planning. All right, the next thing you want to make sure that you duplicate is the proper expectation on your team, the proper ratios of activity. What do I mean by that? Well, a lot of times people join a network marketing business and they get this idea in their head, especially if they're brand new, that there are 5 perfect people for their business. If I could just get Tom and Bob and Freddie and Mike and Alan to join my business, then I'd be set. And then that new person goes and talks to all those people, and every single one of them says no because they didn't really get any training that they needed. They don't really know what to say, and they're just puking their business on those people. And then the new distributor feels like they're a total failure, like this isn't a business for me, I can't do this. When in reality, there are billions of people in the world. What you need to understand is that you need people, but you don't need any particular people. And the people who you recruit may not turn out to be the leaders in your business. It may be somebody that they recruit, or somebody that they recruit who recruits somebody else who recruits somebody else, and there's your leader. So really, it's just about doing the activity of sharing the product, sharing the business, helping others to do the same, and then watching for leaders to emerge. You may have to talk to 100 people before you get 20 to join your business. And that's just kind of the ratio. Now, another thing, if 3 people join your business, chances are 1 is going to quit. 1 is going to just use the product to some extent, and 1 is going to build some kind of a business, maybe from small to big, and we're not quite sure yet. That's okay. If you understand that those are the ratios, you can work with those ratios. And you just keep moving forward until the leaders start to gel, until you can start to work in depth. Now, you also want to duplicate the proper product-business balance. We feel very comfortable talking about our product because of all the wonderful things that it's done for us, because of all the science that's behind it. It's really quite easy to talk about it. But many people are very reticent to talk about the business. So what they do is they spend a lot of time in what I call a product-centered approach. Now, there's nothing wrong with talking to people about product. We call that a bottom-up approach. Just understand that this is where somebody uses the product and then it's kind of like they start to percolate. And after a couple of months, they start to boil and they say, hey, you know what? These products are great. Maybe this would be a business for me. But realize this is a business of duplication. So if you want every person on your team, every person that you bring into the business to take 2 to 3 months to realize maybe this is a business for me, and if that duplicates out and that's the only thing happening on your team, it's going to take you forever to build a team. And we've got great products. They have great benefits. But if that's all we're ever talking about, and if we spend tons and tons of time just discussing all of the deep science, nothing wrong with that, but if that's all you're talking about, don't be surprised if you wind up with every single one of the people in your business being customers and nobody wanting to do the business because you didn't talk about a business. You see, when you talk product, you can also frame it in terms of the business. Once somebody tries it, likes it, gets a benefit, you can say, imagine how many people are looking for the solution you just found. How many people feel like you do? These products are exclusive. People can't get them except through distributors. There's a huge market for these products. We're still talking product, but now we're framing it in terms of the business. Now, the business-centered approach means that you are talking to people on purpose about the business, and you're kind of leading with that. It's very important for you to find other people who want to be kind of like the leaders alongside you. You need generals to help your business grow quickly so that those generals can guide and direct the efforts of the foot soldiers. Not everybody wants to be a general. So it actually requires the same effort to sponsor a general as it does a foot soldier. You're going to go through the same process. It's going to take the same time. You're going to have to answer the same questions. It's just that the focus is a little bit different. When you're looking for leaders, you're looking for business-minded leader types. You're focusing on that. So what we need to do is we need to find our elite pack mindset. We should not be afraid to talk to people who are successful. So many times I hear somebody say to me, oh, he'd never want to do the business. He's too successful. Why on earth would you ever discriminate against your most successful friends? Those are the people who know how to be successful. Let them choose. Our job is not to convince or sell anybody anything. It's simply to educate them about what we have and allow them to see if and how it serves them and at what level. That's all we do. So don't be afraid to talk to people who are more successful than you are. The tendency is for people to want to talk to people that they can feel very comfortable speaking to. I have more credibility than Bob, so I'm going to talk to Bob and he'll listen to me. Well, the average person, if you were to go to them and say, hey, rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10, where do you think you fall on the scale of credibility, talents, abilities? Most people would say, oh, I'm probably a solid 7 or 8. And so what they want to do is they want to go out and they want to talk to their 6s, right? Because they'll feel comfortable. Well, guess what? That 6 does not consider themselves a 6. They consider themselves a 7 or an 8. So now when they join your business, they're going to go talk to their 6s, which are your 5s, who consider themselves 7s, who are going to go talk to their 6s, who are your 4s. And pretty soon, you're giving one-on-one presentations at the local penitentiary. So we want to make sure that we're recruiting up. If you want to play tennis better, if you want to improve your tennis game, do you play with somebody who plays worse than you or somebody who plays better than you? Don't be afraid to approach people who have more success than you do. Now, here are the qualities that you're looking for in generals that you want to bring into your business. They have good self-esteem. They're not just going to wilt if somebody tells them no. They're goal-oriented. They know where they're going. They're entrepreneurial instead of just having an employee mindset. That means that if a problem comes along, they're going to find a way over, around, under, or through that problem. They're assertive. They take responsibility for their results because they know if it is to be, it's up to me. They're open to new opportunities. They're action takers. They're decisive. They're not wishy-washy. And they're determined. These are the qualities that you're after. Now, when you talk to business people, you want to make sure that you're duplicating the right follow-up on your team when your team is talking to business people. So you want to make sure that you paint the right picture. I'm going to talk to a business person very differently than I'm going to talk to somebody when I'm talking product. I want to use business language. I'm going to let a business person know that these products are exclusive and they're first to market. Why? Well, because if there's exclusivity, that gives me a bigger opportunity. If these products are first to market, that means we have a first mover advantage. I'm going to let them know that there are 17 patents and counting on these products. That means people can't just go out and copy us. And there's scientific verification. Why is that important to a business person? Because they want to seem credible, and they want to be able to show their friends that these are credible products. You want to talk about the company growth and timing. This is a company that's grown in every year of its existence. 10, 20 million, 30, 40, 50, $70 million in sales last year. But that's a sign of a healthy company. That's a sign of a company that's here to stay. So this is a safe place to build. You want to talk about the minimum risks of starting a huge international business through a network marketing opportunity like this. Business people understand what it costs to start a traditional business. And there are thousands and thousands, and sometimes hundreds of thousands or even millions of dollars in startup costs and risks. In rain, the worst thing that could happen to you is that you're going to eat some rain product and feel better and be more healthy. That's the worst damage that could possibly happen to you. The startup costs are very, very minimal. Now, a business person would be very, very interested in an opportunity that has unlimited expansion possibilities and that has global reach. And this is a business that does. You can participate in a world economy, not just your local economy, simply by working in your local area and then networking out into the world. The timing of this opportunity is something that I would talk to a business person about. We're going from small to big. We're a stable company. It's like a ground floor opportunity without any of the risk, but we're right in the window between $50 and $100 million a year in sales, where network marketing companies tend to just go boom and then start duplicating at 10 times the pace. That's very exciting, and you want to be in the company before that starts to happen. Leverage. This is a magic principle. Most people have to pay millions of dollars to get leverage. You would have to have millions of dollars in the bank to be able to live off of the interest. Or, you could go out and buy income properties. Once again, that's millions of dollars of investment to have a steady residual income. Or you can build a network marketing business with very little risk and have the same kinds of income without having that money in the bank or that money at risk. There are no set hours. So you can set your hours, and because of your team around the globe, your business can operate 24/7. That means tonight when you're asleep, somebody on the other side of the world can be buying your product and putting money in your pocket. It's a win-win business model. To me, network marketing is the most moral business model there is because I can't succeed unless I help you succeed. It's win-win. That is not the model in the corporate world. I have to succeed at your expense in the corporate world because there's only so many promotions to go around. There's immediate tax savings in a network marketing business. You can write off part of your home for a home office. Your mileage becomes deductible. Go out to dinner and discuss your business, your dinner becomes deductible. There are so many things you can talk to your tax accountant about, but lots and lots of tax advantages. You have freedom with a network marketing business. You don't have employees and you don't work for anybody else. You're an independent distributor. You don't have buildings to maintain. You don't have financial liabilities at risk. You don't even have to do the bookkeeping. The company does that for you. You don't have any of the traditional overheads of a traditional business. Now, you also want to make sure that you're duplicating the right starter packages. How did you start? I got to tell you, the first question that somebody's going to ask you when they see that there are several different options of packages to start with is, okay, Paul, so tell me, which package did you start with? And then the next thing they'll say is, okay, I'll do that one too. So if you want to duplicate with one or two little boxes, you should start that way. If you want to duplicate with multiple boxes, start with an elite pack, start with a super elite pack. You need the product anyway. And you can let your prospect know why you chose that package, the advantages of choosing that package. There's enough product for sampling. I can be generous. I can build my business and continue to use the products myself. I can have products available for meetings that I give. I can rotate products. That means that I can start somebody off immediately in the business. I can hand them 2 of my boxes and say, I tell you what, here are 2 of mine. You get going today. When your package comes, just replace my boxes. That cuts 3 to 5 days off of your duplication cycle right there, just because you had some product on hand to share with them. Product for personal use. You need to be a product of the product. Your story in using that product, your results are going to speak volumes, and that's like a nuclear weapon in your arsenal. And with the larger packages, there's built-in auto ship. That means that for 3 months or up to 6 months, they won't charge your credit card again for a package that they're going to send you. Auto ship is the basis of our business. People need to be on this product. This is a product that you use daily. You don't want to stop using this product. When would you want to stop being healthy and getting the benefits of these products? So you want to use them every day. After a month, your box will be gone. You want another box showing up. That's what auto ship is for. But if you start with a larger package, you save on the shipping, you pay less money per box, and you have 3 to 6 months, depending upon the package that you chose, of no auto ship. But your business is still qualified every month because of what we call auto volume. All right, well, when your prospect starts with a larger package, it truly does shift the psychology in that person. It really encourages them to treat their business as a business because they've laid more on the line. They have more skin in the game. Because if you treat it like a hobby, it will pay you like a hobby. If you treat it like a business, it will pay you like a business. We also want to duplicate the proper product consumption. We can't really control the volume on our teams. All we can do is sponsor people, encourage them to sponsor others, and duplicate that cycle. In reality, that's really all we can do, except we can set the pace in our own product consumption. We can set the standard. So you want to always buy from yourself. If our company makes a product, you should never be buying a competing product from anybody else. Always buy from your own store and buy a lot. Use a lot of product. Your story will be better. The more product that I use, the better my story becomes. Now, don't be stingy with samples. A mistake that a lot of people make is they try to increase their bottom line by not giving away samples. That's like shooting yourself in the foot. That's how you grow your business. Be generous with samples. Teach your team to be generous with samples. It will increase your duplication. And don't cry poor and cut back. You know, unless you're just a part-time hobbyist, if you're making $500 a month, there's no reason that you should be saying, I'm going to try to live off of that. You shouldn't be trying to live off your business at that point. You should be trying to grow it. You should be reinvesting in your business. So there's no reason to say, well, I can't afford to be on a 2-box auto ship, especially when we can build Rain partner teams to pay for our auto ship. Be generous with yourself. Be generous with your consumption. Set the standard that others will follow. Now, how many times have you heard the question, well, what's the minimum auto ship I can do? Let me ask you this question. When was the last time you ever saw anybody do something epic or fantastic with great results by asking the question, what's the least I can do? What's the minimum I can do? So we need to change our mindset to a prosperity mindset and duplicate that out. Also, this is very important. We want to duplicate doing the right thing at all times in our business. We want to be known for our ethics. Never do something that you wouldn't want done to you. So many times I've gotten some kind of an email or a text saying, hey, I've got this guy, he's a mid-pin level guy, and he really doesn't like his sponsor, and he'd like to be on our team, and he could sign up his wife and nobody would ever know, and he would work in that position and stop working in his position. Well, first of all, I wouldn't like that done to me, so I already know that's a wrong thing to do. But secondly, if I were to do that, I would lose trust. I would lose the trust of my team. If anybody ever knew that I did that shady thing, people wouldn't trust me. And why should they? Because I did something shady. And this is a business that's entirely based on trust. So always do the right thing. Always pay to get into a meeting if there's a charge. Don't sneak into meetings. If there's copyrighted material, pay for the copyrighted material. Don't just copy it and get around the copyright. Do the right thing. Duplicate the right thing on your teams. Well, we want everybody to live on this end of the time and money continuum, where you can spend less time and make more money. It takes time to get there, and it takes understanding the principle of duplication. Make a decision. Step across a line. Commit to your dream, and then make it non-negotiable. Say to yourself, I am doing this, so everybody else better lead, follow, or get the heck out of my way, because I am doing this thing. Your first obligation to your team is to become successful yourself. In order for duplication to happen, in order for there to be a duplicate, there has to be an original. And when your team sees your success, trust me, that tribe is going to want to follow. They will follow your example. That's the essence of duplication. Imagine what could happen next. So get out there, duplicate, dream, and make it rain.